Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to TradeScope. My name is Luis Garcia. I'm a part-time trader, and this is my weekly recap where I talk about all the stocks that I traded last week and what I'm looking to trade this week. I just want to say before I get started that these videos are for educational purposes only and they do not serve as financial advice. With that said, I want to get started because I have a lot to cover this week. So, first thing, NVDA. All right, well, let me just say, I want to caveat everything I'm about to say with a few things. So first of all, the market is, in my opinion, heading into a risk-off cycle right now because next week is two big things. The first big thing is election, right? So the American elections are happening next week. There's a lot of investors and algorithms taking risk off the table going into elections next week because we just don't know what's going to happen, right? It's my opinion that if the Republicans get the presidential seat, then most likely we will have a rally in the stock market, but who knows? Anything could happen, but that's my opinion. I think that's what's going on right now in the stock market, and you can see that in a lot of the trades and the setups that we're about to go through today. The other big thing that's happening in the market next week is the Fed announcement on the 7th. So the Feds are going to announce a rate cut, most likely a rate cut, continue quantitative easing now that inflation has kind of come down to their target, which is around 2%. I believe they just reported last week. I forget what the exact number was, but it was somewhere in the 2% range. Anyways, I don't want to get too much into that, but I do want that to be kind of kept in mind with what we're seeing on the charts this week, because I think there's a common theme that you're going to see of just a lot of risk-off type activity going on. So yeah, let's get started with NVIDIA. I've been holding calls on NVIDIA. It's a 148 strike price with an expiration date of November 15th. Last week I had 7 calls. This week I doubled down on that position. It did not hit my deepest stop loss, so I think, one of my stop losses is right here. Boom. The other one of my stop losses is right here. Boom. I don't think that's going to happen. You could see it rallied. It dipped this week and then it rallied into the close of the week. Very strange activity. Again, I think this is like risk-off behavior. Algos are starting to sell. They're starting to risk off going into the election week. Some big news happened on Friday, though. If you can see, let's see if it says it somewhere here. Giant supercomputer. Here it is right here. So correction to NVIDIA to replace. So NVIDIA is going to replace NVIDIA is going to replace Intel in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and for some reason that made investors, that was a big buying. I think what happened was the news hit after hours and algos just started covering short positions, right? I think that's what happened, right? Because the big rally didn't really happen until after hours once this news hit, right? So that's kind of my opinion. Let's look at the chart. So this is what I'm basically seeing is the struggle for 140, right? So if you look at this line here, this is the struggle for 140. Its previous all-time high was 140.76. A couple weeks ago when I bought into these calls, it hit 143. It pulled back, it tried again, it failed, and then boom, here it comes back down, crashing to the 130s, and then it rallies back up on this news. So I think there's a couple other key technicals to keep in line, and that would be this trend line right here. You can even kind of draw it like that. Let's do a better job of that. So there's a few different ways we can look at this, but I think this is most accurate, what's going on, right? This trend line kind of got hit in a few places, right there, right here, and right here. So I'm looking for a break, right? We're still heading into earnings. Another fundamental thing that people are talking about, a few chip stocks came out. AMD missed the mark. A couple other stocks, a couple other tech stocks missed the mark. So there was this big risk off, But I think, one thing that people missed in all those earnings reports is the fact that all of these big tech companies are still spending a lot. And in fact, they're increasing spending on AI activity, which is a good thing for NVIDIA. Anyways, I don't want to stick to NVIDIA for too long because I also traded a few other, I opened a few other positions this week that have been lingering for a while. So let's check out FUBO, another position that I opened this week. Not pleased with the performance. I'm probably going to get out of it at some point. So first of all, here's my stop, right? So that's about 140, I'd say. I got in up here, 186. You could see it literally just tapped 186, which was my order. My order triggered at 186. And then they had earnings. I thought their earnings were pretty good, right? It says right here, falls 11.8% despite an upbeat Q3 earnings. So again, I think there's a lot of risk-off activity going on in the market heading into the election week. And I think investors are just looking for very superb results. I do expect that there's going to be a turnaround next week, but that's just my opinion. I'm betting on it. Doesn't mean that's going to happen. I might get my butt handed to me. We'll see. But that's what's going on with FUBO. Another one that kind of did something similar was Plug. So Plug, actually, I got in a couple weeks ago, and I've been holding it because, it didn't quite hit my stop loss. So my stop loss was the last low, 194. It came down to 194. I wasn't even paying attention to the chart when that happened. And then the next day it rallied back up to 219. It's going into earnings next week, the 7th, right? So something big, could be potentially going on with the stock, especially, again, if, depending on how the election goes. I think no matter which way the election goes, the stock is going to benefit from it. Again, look at this volume, right? Huge volume. RSI's holding strong right in the middle. So we'll see. Haven't gotten out of that position yet. Another one that I got into this week was AI. So AI I had been watching since last week, and same kind of thing with FUBO. It rallied to 2650 this day, right? That was my entry. My order triggered. It went up. It looks like it banged right up against this big trend line, right? You see this trend line. It hit in a few different places here. Let's see if we can get the ellipse going. It hit here, 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 and here, right? So lots of places where it hit. I think what's going to happen is, well, one of two things, right? It's either going to break that trend line and continue higher on this trend line, or it's going to fall. Again, it didn't quite hit my stop. My stop's down here. Let's go back to my continuous line just to show you where my stop is, right about there. That is at 24.25. It didn't quite hit it. Could still hit it next week. It got close. It's struggling with this trend line, right? You see, I drew this trend line, dipped below it down here, came back up, rallied, hit that other trend line, and then broke through it again, failed at its first retest. We'll see if it could possibly retest through that. If so, continuation higher for AI. Again, the trade on this is pretty much the same thing. AI stocks are starting to come back into the news. Earnings are coming up soon, right? So I think, we'll see. But hasn't hit my stop loss yet. I'm in the position now, so we'll see what happens. My final trade for this week. This is a trade I actually got out of. I was able to get out of. So let's see. I believe it was on Monday. So if you guys have been following the news, something interesting has been happening with Bitcoin. I think it's partly due to just a technical breakout. I also think it has to do with the fundamentals and the fact that Elon Musk could potentially be named to this Department of Government Efficiency if Trump gets into office. That's obviously a nod to Dogecoin. And Elon Musk has been a big proponent of cryptocurrency in general, right? IBIT is the iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF that follows Bitcoin. So I was expecting a breakout in Bitcoin this week. That's exactly what happened. I believe I got in on the break of 40, no, it was actually 139. Yeah, it was at 39. Yeah, on Monday. Yep. So I got in at Monday, break at 39, first thing in the morning. It ended up going high till 41.96. I think I got out at like $40, something like that. 40.76. I know I made about $1.50, $1.25 on it. It was about $100 profit. I'm happy with it. Got in and out. It was a pretty easy trade. I'm happy with the profits. Don't have to worry about managing my risk on this one, unlike my other 4 positions now. So we'll see what's going to happen next week and what the rest of this month brings us. I did pretty good last month. I made, I think, a couple thousand in profits. So we'll see what happens. And really my goal into the next week and couple weeks is to start unwinding some of these positions that I'm in, really pay attention to my risk management parameters, see if I can get out with profits, if not take small losses, those sorts of things. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to going into next week and into the month of November. So again, we'll see what happens. Lots to keep my eye on though, lots to keep me busy. I'm happy. Let me know what you think about all these trades. There's a lot going on, so there's a lot to talk about. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and thanks for watching.